Mr. Speaker, God will be gracious and you can make life, especially to our KCSE students, Mr. Speaker, wherever they are. Mr. Speaker, I want to comment and thank the Committee of Finance and Budget. For the first time, the Finance and Budget Committee have made tremendous progress, Mr. Speaker. You remember after the Finance Bill 2024 flopped, there was an issue of reviewing our allocations to counties. Mr. Speaker, one of them was 401 billion. You remember after amendment by the National Assembly, it was reduced to 380 billion, which was way below before the last financial year of 385 billion, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, even on conditional grants, they went ahead and reduced, Mr. Speaker. And I want to say the National Assembly continues to violate the Constitution and defile the Constitution at all instances, Mr. Speaker, especially when it comes to allocation to counties. Mr. Speaker, while we agree there are challenges in our county governments because of corruption, because of lethargy, because of poor governance, Mr. Speaker, you don't need to, Mr. Speaker, to undermine devolution by reducing the money that will go to our devolved units, Mr. Speaker. So I want to thank the Finance and Budget Committee, Mr. Speaker, and I can see a number of members in the House for the good job, Mr. Speaker, for rejecting this reduction. Mr. Speaker, as a former governor, many counties struggle to fulfill the basics of roads, bursary, water, access to drugs, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, I want to agree, while we agree counties do not have the best, they don't do the job, Mr. Speaker, that should be done. For example, in Nandi, Mr. Speaker, in the financial year that we just concluded, my good friend, the governor, purchased a mass grave of 115 million, yet there is no location. When the county assembly asked Mr. Speaker, he said there was no need to buy mass grave site since the people did not die. But the money had been expended. The land that was being bought, Mr. Speaker, cannot be located, Mr. Speaker, as we speak, and yet 115 million was spent, Mr. Speaker. While we ask governors, Mr. Speaker, we give them the money, they must be accountable for those money, Mr. Speaker. Even and also be prudent in the resources that we are talking about, Mr. Speaker. For example, in my county, in the financial year 2023-2024, my governor, through foreign travels, used 310 million, according to Auditor General's report, Mr. Speaker. One of the foreign trips he went was to see how tarmac roads are being done to bitumen standards somewhere in China, cooperation in China, Mr. Speaker. Yet we know county governments do not have capacity to build tarmac roads, unless it is different in Migori, Mr. Speaker. He even went to see where Jesus Christ was born, Mr. Speaker. Yet for us who are Christians, believe that Jesus Christ should be born in our hearts, Mr. Speaker. So these are the challenges. We ask governors, Mr. Speaker, at any given instances, to use prudent the resources they have, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, the cutting of that was the conditional allocation to the financial year 2024-2025 was to be decreased between 15.4 billion from 61 plus billion, Mr. Speaker, 61.9 to 46%. I don't agree. Even on road maintenance levy fund, the 10 billion, Mr. Speaker, you remember we even sat over it, Mr. Speaker, even in our parliamentary group meeting, over this 10 billion, that this road maintenance levy fund must be given to counties, Mr. Speaker, so that they can do improvement infrastructure to the bitumen standards, to the tarmac, Mr. Speaker. Where I come from, like in Kapsabet town, in Nandi Hills town, in Maraba town, in Kabiyet, in Mosoria township, Mr. Speaker, where the contractor is doing a substandard job, Mr. Speaker, in Mosoria, where we are having a rechite like, Mr. Speaker, of a tarmac road in Mosoria, for example. Even in Kaptuma and Kobuja, Mr. Speaker, the county should be given this 10 billion through road maintenance levy fund, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that there is value for this money, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, even the counties like Elgeyo Marakwet, Isiolo, Nyamira, Mr. Speaker, they cannot construct their county headquarters, Mr. Speaker. This 523 million was to assist them. We did visit Isiolo. And we noticed, Mr. Speaker, the county headquarters construction has stalled because of the revenue allocation that we give counties like Elgeyo Marakwet, like Isiolo, like Nyamira, Mr. Speaker, they don't, and other counties, they don't have sufficient resources to allocate to the county headquarters. And therefore, there was a Solomonic reasoning as to why we gave them 523 million, Mr. Speaker, but this one was given 0. And you know the sad thing, Mr. Speaker, and I want to ask the Finance and Budget Committee members who are here, I have not seen the chair, the Senator of Mandera, distinguished senator, that did they consult with the Finance and Budget Committee of the National Assembly? Because how did they remove 523.1 million meant for county headquarters, Mr. Speaker? Yet these counties continue to struggle, Mr. Speaker. Number 3, Mr. Speaker, even on the issue of county aggregation and industrial parks, whereby the counties was to give 250 million, the national government was to match in similar amount, Mr. Speaker. Yet on this one of 2.5 billion, Mr. Speaker, it was supposed to be 4.5 billion, so that we build industrial parks, Mr. Speaker. I notice a number of your visitors in the gallery, Mr. Speaker, are young people. They are looking for opportunities. They are looking for jobs. One of the way to grow this country, even moving from the third to first world by Liu Kim, Mr. Speaker, in the Singapore story, Mr. Speaker. The only way is to have manufacturing so that job opportunities can give to the young people, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, this slashing of money going to aggregation centers that will affect Kilifi, will affect Nandi, will affect Vihiga, Mr. Speaker, yet they had agreed that 250 million is given by the national government, 250 million is very unfortunate, Mr. Speaker. Another important thing, Mr. Speaker, that I found it weird and absolute, we are talking about universal health coverage, we are talking about SHIV, we are talking about SHA, Mr. Speaker. Yet we cannot, the equity, Mr. Speaker, access universal health coverage, universal access to health, Mr. Speaker. You can see the president and the government and come up with what we call community health promoters. It was unwise for the National Assembly to cut this money, Mr. Speaker, only to 2.584 billion, which can compensate 86,133 CHPs, Mr. Speaker. Yet we had hired 107,831 community health promoters, Mr. Speaker. And these health promoters are like the extension officers that we have in counties, Mr. Speaker. These are the people who will go to Mashinani, Mr. Speaker. At our villages, Mr. Speaker, some of us come from where to access a health center, you take 5 kilometers. You access that health center, Mr. Speaker, there are no drugs. There is no medication. There is no service. These community health promoters, Mr. Speaker, were supposed to assist, Mr. Speaker, in accessing quality health care, Mr. Speaker. Say that things like, Mr. Speaker, you go to referral hospital on Eldoret, Moi Teaching a referral hospital. You get somebody who is in Eldoret, Moi Teaching a referral hospital, or Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Hospital in Kisumu. The former, it was called Russian Hospital. You go to Coast General Hospital. You go to Nakuru PGH. You get in those referral hospitals, even Mama Lucy, Mr. Speaker. And I saw Mama Lucy, I saw another story, Mr. Speaker, over the weekend in one of the leading stations, showing how 4 people are sleeping in one bed in Mama Lucy Kibaki Hospital, Mr. Speaker. How can we alleviate that? If the Mama Lucy here hospital, 4 or 5 people, women, others were sleeping on the floor, Mr. Speaker. Those are countries that are medieval. It cannot happen in Nairobi, Mr. Speaker. So how do we, that is the reason they were community health promoters, Mr. Speaker. So that the people want to give birth. Some of us, Mr. Speaker, were not lucky. We were not born in hospitals, like the Gen Z and the rest, Mr. Speaker. Some of us were under the mask of midwives in the villages. Mr. Speaker, no wonder we are very brilliant. Because the first time we were born into this world, we got a good slap, and we were able to awaken to the reality of this world, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, that is why where we are today. And that is why we thought by bringing CHPs, community health promoters, to the village level was very critical. And what happened in Mama Lucy over the weekend, and I'm happy the Senator of Nairobi, my good friend and Secretary General of Blood-Based Government is here, Mr. Speaker, is that you cannot allow 4 people to sleep in one bed, Mr. Speaker. That is condemning. It should be condemned with the strongest possible terms, Mr. Speaker. And I hope after this, the Senator of Nairobi, who is my good friend, will request the Health Committee to do thorough inspection before Mama Lucy Kibaki Hospital, Mr. Speaker, so that our people can get access to medical health care. So I disagree in totality, Mr. Speaker. Why would you, for example, I was talking about referral hospital, like Kenyatta National Hospital, Mr. Speaker, here in Nairobi. Why would somebody who has normal cough or has normal malaria go to referral hospital like Moi Teaching a referral in Eldoret? If our healthcare system was functional in Vihiga, you don't need to amputate anybody to the Kisumu Referral Hospital, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, or Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. I can see there is a Kakamega that is upcoming. I don't know whether it was handed over to the national government. I remember there was advanced conversation, and I hope it is handed over. Because Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital is overwhelmed, Mr. Speaker. So on this issue of community health promoters, we must agree as a country, Mr. Speaker, that health is very critical. It is very important. In fact, what we should be doing is to add more community health promoters. Let them work with some basic dawa or some basic medicine. Let's go and check pressure. Mr. Speaker, are you aware? Most of our older people in our communities, even in Kilifi, are dying because of basic diseases like diabetes, like pressure, Mr. Speaker. Things that can be treatable. Can we ensure these CHPs are well equipped to work into a village in Homa Bay and assist our parents, our old people, to take diabetes, to take pressure, Mr. Speaker? It is killing our people, the hypertension, because of lack of access and because we thought the CHPs, Mr. Speaker, would be important to ensure that, Mr. Speaker, that they get access to quality medical care. Number 4, Mr. Speaker, is the issue of museum. Mr. Speaker, this is just a basic, Mr. Speaker, and then what interesting, they were court fines. These people, it is money that has been collected by courts, and I know, Mr. Speaker, through you, the retired Justice, Senator Stuart Masayo understands this. These were court fees that had been collected. I don't know why people would want it to cut down, yet they should have been given, like the way cities and others impose fines within the courts that are within that particular, Mr. Speaker. Even in museum, we need to see Sinjatrophas. They were, Mr. Speaker, the history of medieval times. We need these young men and women need to know the history of Kenya. They need to know what is happening. When I come to coast, we need to have proper museums in Kilifi, in Kwale, where we can understand about blue economy. When you come to Nandi, Mr. Speaker, and I continue to wish well the heroes of Kenya, including Koitalela Arap Samoei, which are one of the remnants that is remaining, Mr. Speaker, that we are proud. Yes, and Jean Maria Serone, Mr. Speaker, the Firebree, among the 7 bearded sisters who built the foundation of this parliament, Mr. Speaker, that we need to celebrate our heroes. We need to learn. When I want to come to coast, I want to go to museum and know Mekatilili Wamenza, who was she? What did she fight for? How was the past? Yes, those things that Stuart Masayo, Senator, is saying, Mr. Speaker. When I want to learn about the history of Maasai, I need to walk into a Narok museum and be able to understand how they ate, their cultures, their values. Why is it that Maasai women are very beautiful, Mr. Speaker? But they are not as beautiful as from Nandi. Mr. Speaker, those are, we need to understand, Mr. Speaker, that what is happening across, Mr. Speaker, we need to be told, Mr. Speaker, the first railway I normally see here in Nairobi, how the first railway, the man-eaters of Savo, we need to understand. And it can only happen within the county setup, Mr. Speaker. Number 5, Mr. Speaker, was on the road maintenance levy fund, that is 10 billion, Mr. Speaker. I want to still insist. Kera and Kura are unconstitutional. They are illegal road bodies. And in fact, I want to agree, I know there is a matter in court, Mr. Speaker, on this matter. Kera and Kura are unconstitutional. It should be scrapped. It can either be national roads or county roads, Mr. Speaker. We are tired. You find a road is being done by Kera, the governor comes and puts a signpost that is done by the county. A road done by county, Kura comes and puts it, Mr. Speaker. Let the road maintenance levy fund of 10 billion go to counties so that counties can improve their centers, Mr. Speaker. We want when you are working in center in Mandera, Mr. Speaker, anywhere in Homa Bay, in Kakamega, in Kilifi, in Kwale, in Lamu, Mr. Speaker, those centers can be improved by the counties because that 10 million through roads maintenance levy fund should be given, Mr. Speaker, so that it becomes very easy. Let us, Mr. Speaker, and I think the only way we can agree the functionality of national trunk roads, transboundary roads, is by having only Kenya National Highway Authority. But for Kera and Kura, we should avoid this duplication, Mr. Speaker. And that is why it is important, Mr. Speaker, that the transfer of functions under 4th schedule in our Constitution 2010, Mr. Speaker, is very critical. Why do we have Kera and have Kura, yet most of those small centers, Mr. Speaker, just in 1 second, Mr. Speaker, with those very many remarks, allow me to support this motion and thank the Finance and Budget for rejecting these amendments. And I also reject in total, Mr. Speaker. I thank you.
Honorable Senators, before I allow the next speaker to take to the floor, allow me to make the following communication. I would like to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery this afternoon of a visiting delegation of Kabianga University in Kericho County, comprising of 6 lecturers and 100 students. Now, Honorable Senators, in keeping with our tradition of warmly welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a heartfelt welcome to the delegation, and on behalf of the Senate and my own behalf, wish them a productive and enjoyable visit. I thought I saw the Senator for Kericho. I will, in his absence, I will allow the majority whip under 1 minute to extend a word of welcome to the delegation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the honor to acknowledge the presence in the House today of this delegation. Mr. Speaker, the importance of education, and especially university education, cannot be gainsaid. I want to welcome them and encourage the students and the lecturers, of course, to ensure that they should not just be at the university, but they should come out of the university with quality education. Lecturers, we want to appeal to you as the leadership of this country that we are starting to have a culture of fake degrees from River Road. This must be checked, and you are at the center of it. Secondly, we have had many people complain, Mr. Speaker, about buying of marks by students, ending up giving us half-baked professionals. This, as leadership of the country, we cannot accept or entertain. I therefore want to invite them to find time to see the quality of leadership in this House and in this history of Parliament. The best legislators have always been people with good education. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and welcome.
Thank you. The Honorable Beatrice Akenya.
Honorable Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to welcome the team from the university. Honorable Speaker, there's some research that recently came my way that says...
Honorable Beatrice Akenya,
Yeah.
you have the floor to contribute to that motion. The delegation has already been in, yes. They've already been welcomed.
Thank you, Honorable
Proceed
Speaker.
to contribute on the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I stand down that chance. I will do the next time.
Thank you. Honorable Abbas Sheikh Mohammed. Senator Abbas, the floor is yours, Senator Abbas. You may proceed to contribute to this motion.
Honorable Speaker, thank you so much. I'm actually interrupted by consultation. Honorable Speaker, I wish to contribute to this mediation. Consideration of the reduction of money for the counties. Honorable Speaker, I think what I'm saying now is that our counterparts have now not been very serious on these issues. One thing you know, Honorable Speaker, the Senate funds for the Senate has already been reduced so greatly. The funds going to counties are reduced. So while the National Assembly is looking for more money for their CDF, the National Government Constituency Fund, they keep on reducing funds for this, counties and funds for the Senate and other institutions. Honorable Speaker, 85% of this money, of the national money that has been collected from the taxpayers, is going to national assembly. National governments. operations. But unfortunately, even the counties have received less than what they were supposed to get. Already 20 billion has been reduced for the money that we were allocated, though now it is with the mediation committee. Honorable Speaker, one thing I can say is that the road maintenance levy is reduced by 10.5 billion shillings. Honorable, as you are aware, it's only the Kenya that comes under the national government. Kura is actually doing the work on in the municipalities. Municipality belongs to the counties. And therefore, that fund should have even gone earlier to the counties. The second one is, again, Kera. That is also rural roads. That is within the mandate of the counties. And this same fund has been reduced by 10.5 billion shillings. Honorable Speaker, as you are aware, as a result of the previous El Nino, so many roads have been damaged, and most of the roads in the rural areas are not potable today. And therefore, reducing this fund actually has not been fair. One other thing is, Honorable Speaker, minerals in this country is not found in the, in the national office. It is found in the community lands. Land owned by the communities is where we find the minerals. And most of this land is actually managed by the counties. And therefore, that money was again reduced 1.1 billion shillings. I think this is not fair, that we need to get even more money, that the money that is being actually generated from within the areas of the counties should go back and belong back to the counties. One other thing is the funds for the court fines was also reduced $30 million shillings. This is also not in order. Three, Honorable Speaker, there are counties that have not, are still living in all the county council offices. The county of Tharaka Nithi, Lamu, Elgeyo Marakwet, Isiolo, and some of the offices have not been done up to now, 12 years down the line. So it is not fair for the money for the 528 million shillings to be removed from the budget. Those guys are living actually in makeshifts. Honorable Speaker, one other thing is the issue to do with the community health workers. The community health workers actually is actually very important community services and health services that makes these same people that have been engaged the other day have not been paid. And what they're getting is actually a minimum money. It's just a very peanut, 5,000 shillings per month. But however, it means a lot to the Kenyans, especially in the rural areas. This money